What's up, guys? Nick from Derelict Sports here. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below, share it with your friends. It really helps out the channel. We truly
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Derelict Sports. It's your boy Nick, alongside, as always, Derelict Dale. Hope you guys are having a great week. Happy Friday. We have made it through a long week.
A fucking man.
Dude, I am, Jesus Christ, this felt like it was two goddamn weeks this week. It has been absolutely brutal.
How can like cardboard stack on top of cardboard stack on top of cardboard? I don't understand.
Yeah.
It
What are
was
you,
just
like 2-3 weeks back into real world now? 3
2
weeks?
weeks.
2 weeks?
But it was like this was a week where it just like I'll use the great analogy. Like I got my dick slammed in a door. It was just not good. It was just got fucked right from the word go to start the week and never got out of it.
Yeah, that's the worst, dude. Absolute worst. So thank God we made it. If you guys are new to here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below, hit that like button, share with your friends, comment down below. It really helps out the channel. We really appreciate it. If you're on X, make sure you guys hit that follow button. Give us a follow, hop in the chat, share it with your friends, whatever. Really helps us. We really appreciate you. So, but yeah, happy Friday. Haven't been live since Monday. Like I said, it's been a really busy week. I've had a lot going on. I've had sick cats. I've been busy at work. Like I said, he's still flat, trying to unflatten his dick, from getting stepped all over this week, and it's been one of those weeks. It's been 2 weeks, honestly. I mean, last week, it was brutal.
Yeah,
so
you had yourself a week last week. You got
and
last week.
So this week, this week of this morning, and Shannon and I are getting stool samples at 6:30 in the morning, trying to get, so we had to drop off a shit sample and then pay $125 for them to send it off to get tested somewhere, like sick. So they're just going to tell us that nothing's wrong, I'm sure. So we're now at like a little over $1,000 the last week into this cat situation. So, but it is what it is. It's all looking good. I mean, we'll do what we got to for the babies. So, but we're here, and we had a lot to talk about. We're going to spend the next hour and a half chit and chatting. We've got UFC 314 tomorrow, big boy card, probably the best one of the year. We've had a lot of news this week going on that we will, chat about. We've got another NBA coach fired out of nowhere, another big one, probably even bigger than Taylor Jenkins. So we'll get into Mike Malone and his firing here in a few minutes. We had Luka, his big return to Dallas, just laid dick all night long. Pretty close game, I mean, they ended up winning. I think they pulled away kind of at the end, but not bad. AD didn't look too great. They kind of shut him down pretty well, but he kind of got cooking in the second half. But yeah, mainly a Luka game. So we'll get into that. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a great weekend of sports. We had darts this week, which Steve Bunting came back to earth a little bit this week. Not really. I mean, he just played a guy that was.
Yeah, he caught a guy that put up the third highest average in Premier League history.
Dude, that was the most. I mean, it was one of those things. Like Luke Humphreys. Since I've been watching darts, that was probably the most impressive round of darts I've seen somebody throw.
I went back and watched that just because, it was like 6-1, and then I heard, and it was just heard that Luke Humphreys went off, and I watched it, and it was like, oh, he fucking went off.
Yeah, there's like it was one of those things where like Stephen Bunting just didn't have a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there was nothing he could do, and like you could just tell he knew it halfway through. He's just like, bro, like what am I supposed to do here? Like,
Yeah, like when you have greatness, every now and then you just gotta watch greatness and just be like, I have no hope in hell.
that
You
was the
just
world number one being the world number one. Like we've talked about it here in the past, for like in darts, even though you're the world number one, like you can lose any day. Like it's one of those things like, sure, you're the number one and you're going to win more than you lose. But, there's been guys like Gerwin Price who just owns the two Lukes, right? And the two Lukes are the guys that are, pretty much the number 1 and 2. Luke Littler's like the phenom, the 17-year-old phenom. And then Luke Humphries is obviously, the world number 1. But, you see these guys lose. It's not like they win like 20 matches in a row and just go on, but they do have legs like that, or they do have rounds like that, and that is what that was. That was him going, yeah, like it was just he probably it's like when you're shooting a basketball, it looks like a swimming pool. Like it probably just he was just on autopilot, dude.
yeah, and it's scary when they're that good and can do that. Like it was like almost awestrucking how dominant it looked. And it's like, oh boy, like sorry, Stephen Bunting, we still love you. Derelict Sports will forever be waving the Stephen Bunting flag, but Luke Humphries, we are not anti Luke Humphries. Luke Humphries,
No,
is
he's my other guy. I mean, maybe not nobody's Stephen Bunting to me, obviously, but yeah, I really enjoy. He's got my second favorite walk on the. I predicted right. I predicted right, dude. I fucking love it, dude.
Do you like Aspinall coming out to Jealousy? See that one hits good
Oh,
too.
Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, Mr. Brightside. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love and he's who won Thursday. He
Oh,
won
he
this week.
did win. Oh
Nathan
shit,
Aspinall won.
that
Yeah.
a boy Asp. There's not a lot that I don't dislike. Like Gerwin Price has grown on me. Michael Van Gerwen's kind of like I've watched Darts forever, so it's kind of like okay, yeah, you're good. We get it.
Yeah. But when he
at
gets
least
injured putting on a fucking t-shirt and has to miss a full week of darts,
that's like some of like the top 5 most ridiculous things.
It's like Freddie Freeman slipping or tweaking his injury on the or whatever on the shower. Just dumb shit. Like guy literally gets a neck injury taking off a shirt.
Do you remember? No, so this is the Jays and me. Do you remember when the Jays and Guardians played and Trevor Bauer cut his hand making drones? And then like started to pitch and like was
just
bleeding like a
everywhere,
pig.
dude.
And he's just like, I'm okay to pitch. Like, no, you aren't, sunshine.
Yeah, dude, that was fucking insane. He was just gushing blood.
It wasn't like just like a little prick, like like you have like when you're taking for like diabetes, and it's like glug, 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 glug.
Yeah, dude, I remember that. Like just dumb shit, dude. This like, poor now Trevor Bauer. I'm pretty sure Trevor Bauer's. Where is Trevor Bauer? Is he pitching in China or something right now? He was.
You think so? Yeah, like.
You think he comes back to the MLB? He was kind of found innocent in a lot of that, right? Kind of.
Yes, it was definitely the girl next door to made it up. I'm sure there was some rough hoochie coochie going on, and
yeah, I mean they were banging pretty rough for sure, but it was nothing like.
Yeah, but not to what she said.
Yeah, I mean she made him seem like he was like, I mean, literally lock him away and throw away the goddamn key.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very torn with this one.
Every 6 weeks, Guardians Twitter goes on a should we bring Trevor Bauer? There's like a day of that where they're like, should we entertain Trevor Bauer? And half of them are like, duh, and the other ones are like, no, like not a fucking chance.
It's so remember when Roberto Osuna was closing for the Jays like in that playoff run, and then the next year he got accused of beating his girlfriend. But so the Jays obviously did the right thing and had to get rid of him because what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, right.
And then Houston was just like, well, we want to win World Series. We'll have to deal with the PR nightmare, and then we'll win a World Series with him being the closer, as they did. It just feels like somebody has to be willing to take on the PR nightmare.
Well, and
And
I'm glad you brought that up because I was at work last week and somebody asked me this, and we were talking about this, and I couldn't remember who it was. Now, do you remember? We think it was Ivan Herrera because we were listening to the Cardinal game at work. Remember when they got all that shit because who did they draft? Because he got popped for steroids.
oh, yeah.
And then he like cycled off of it. He had, done his suspension or whatever. And then the Cardinals drafted him. And I remember everybody was like, oh my God, did they just draft a guy that was caught cheating? You remember? Like, was it Ivan Herrera?
It might have been. I can't remember off the top, but I know who you're talking about.
God, he brought that up and it was like, it has been bothering me for a week. I've just been like, who the fuck was that? And I keep forgetting to look it up and stuff. But like, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I turn on the Cardinal game. I'm like, oh yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's just what risk do you want to take? And if you're the Colorado Rockies and you're going to be bad, you're never taking that risk. If
Right.
you're the Guardians or the Blue Jays, the Yankees desperately are like, it's Marcus. It's pouring fucking buckets in New York, and Marcus Stroman give up 5 runs in the first inning.
Oh yeah, I saw him just what an absolute Yankees Twitter's going nuts. Marcus Stroman, bro, he's a starter, dude.
Marcus Stroman, be happy that you're not in AAA yet.
He's like, no, I don't pitch out of the bullpen, dude. I'm a starter, bro. Can't even get through a bullpen session, not even an inning. He gave up. I saw the 3-run bomb he gave up. That was what I saw.
I just seen it was pissing buckets, and I like looked at my phone and then looked at my phone again to make sure it said 5-0. So and the Rays are up 3-1. It's actually being an okay baseball night so far.
Yeah, so I was gonna say if there's anything that if there's a trend that we're gonna follow, if there's a daily derelict sports trend here, it's that we are going to be fading Marcus Stroman for as long
Carlos
as they
Rodon,
put him out there.
Yeah.
Like
yep.
now,
there's a few pitchers that are in getting close to auto bet against,
like
and I just deal with
I would
it.
assume that the Yankees eventually get him the fuck out of there as far as starting, but they need him. We've talked about him in the past. Like right now, they kind of need Marcus Stroman, you're right? I mean, Max Fried is starting to, he's kind of been as advertised, right? Which is, I saw him getting praised the other day. Somebody was like, thank you Max Fried for not forgetting how to pitch when you put on the pinstripes. Because if you guys think about it, like back in the day, CC Sabathia's guys like that, like they went to the Yankees and they dealt, right? And it seems like in the last 5-10 years, it's almost seems like they go out and get these big guys, Rodon being your guy now, right? Who, it just seems like it never really works. They go out for the big guy, but they get to New York and they kind of shit the bed.
It doesn't help that Yankee Stadium is a bandbox, right?
Right. The absolute batters ballpark.
Where, yeah, like probably Carbs and Calories was the last, and it wasn't great, but probably the best starting pitcher they picked up that's panned out in a while. It's not like Roger Clemens back in the 90s, and yeah, God, yeah, it probably would be Carbs and Calories. What a gem! What a gem! Carbs and Calories is. Go ahead.
Who is that?
CC Sabathia.
Yeah, Carbs and Calories. Okay, that's what I thought.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I was like, I was just making sure I was on the right. But you got saying that, and I'm like, it's got to be CC. Funny thing though, and I don't know why this is, but when I think of the Yankees and I think of Yankees pitchers, I mean, there's a who's who, right? You could think of. My mind immediately goes to Jabba Chamberlain.
Oh, wow. Oh, the playoff game where like the
fly or the bugs in Cleveland and all that.
Guardian fan for you, that makes lots of sense.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think of like a random Yankee that like Paul O'Neill, isn't it? But I'm trying to think. There's got to be like some random. Jabba Chamberlain is a good random Yankee.
And
to
he was
think of.
nice for a minute, right? I mean, Jabba Chamberlain
Well,
was very good for a second.
there was it was like a 2 year period where like they had him in the bullpen for that game where everybody remember when they brought out the training staff and they just started spraying his head with like
Spraying his
off.
dude. That was
So
that game
great.
was insane, and like that's one of those things that only happens like ever so many years, in Cleveland, where like the bugs come off the lake or whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, I mean, that was insane. But yeah, that's who I usually think of when it comes to when I can think about Yankees. But yeah, Marcus Stroman, dude, look, if he's on the mound, they're on the card, and we are fading hard. I mean, San Francisco plus 108 is a good bet anyway.
It's too like if you read it so when Robbie Ray pitched for the Jays, we give him me and Nelson give him the nickname Southpaw Tight Pants. If
That
you
he's
ever
pitching? Is that he's pitching for the
I believe
Giants?
that's who. I believe that was who was probable. I don't know if they didn't put him because of the rain. I just like seen that they scored 5, but Robbie Ray and his grunts and his like. This is not meant to sound weird in any way, shape, or form. Next time you watch Robbie Ray pitch, make sure you look at his pants. They look like they're fucking painted on.
Make sure you check out his junk.
That too.
Yeah, we got the Guardians. They're playing the Royals today, and dude, Royals fans, what a group of losers those guys are, right? Like,
Go.
so I don't know if you guys saw, but when they played earlier, when they opened the season against each other, right? Emmanuel Clase drilled Jonathan India in the side of the fucking head, right? Obviously,
Yes.
didn't mean to do that, right? I mean, it was a pitch that just got away from him, and it just happens that Emmanuel Clase throws goddamn gas, right? So if he throws something and it's a wild pitch, there's also a chance that it's 101 miles an hour. And it hit Jonathan in the side of the face. Not good, right? Doesn't feel good. Doesn't like that. I'm sure it pissed him off. Sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, right. But obviously, Emmanuel Clase in game 2 of the year or whatever the fuck it was is not headhunting Jonathan India, whatever. So they play tonight, and boy, Royals fans were hyped up today. They are like revenge day, revenge game. You know what's coming. We better get the revenge tonight. We better eye for an eye. This type of, I'm like, bro, you guys are pathetic. We're not even a month into the goddamn season. You guys are out for blood. Like, Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I don't know if we've ever had this conversation. I also love how we like have a script and then we just fucking go for it.
Well, I always take
the
the first half hour is just whatever, get it all off the chest. Then we'll dive into what we will want. We need to talk about.
And we will, but I just kind of like we went from darts to Trevor Bauer to the golden rules of baseball.
Yeah.
Fuck, are they stupid?
Dude,
they so fucking stupid?
They're stupid.
It's like, okay, you hit him, so then you have to hit him back. But you only can hit him in the ass. You don't hit him in the ribs. Don't throw. And then you have like the best part. The best part is these guys that are trained to like hit a spot, and then they have a 6'3" athlete that's 220 pounds can't fucking hit him and throw behind him, and then everybody gets pissed off.
Yeah,
baseball's so stupid. I love baseball, but the golden rules of baseball are so fucking dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time the Yankees got rid of that dumb, the facial hair rule. It's just like, get fucking out of here, dude. Like, George Steinbrenner, I hope he's laying face down in his grave right now. You stupid bitch. Like, what a stupid fucking rule. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, baseball's golden rules are so goddamn goofy, and a lot of them are in sports. Like, I mean, I always thought that letting somebody, a guy dunking when they're up 20, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, who gives a shit? Or like the basketball players that won't let a guy shoot after the whistle, and they jump up and try to block it, which I forget. That's actually a pretty relatively new thing. I forget who. Somebody was just talking about this on a podcast. They're like, you can credit, boom, I forget who it was. They're like, Kevin Garnett maybe was the one that maybe did it.
Because I reffing high school basketball. I'm like, kid, you hear the whistle, unless you're in your shooting motion, don't. I can tee you up. Would you? Well, depending.
Yeah.
But
I just think that's such a goofy rule. Like all of it's fucking goofy. Like running up the score and all that shit. Like, bro, if you don't want them to run up the score, stop it. You know what
it's
I
like,
mean?
so my caveat is like in minor, like if you're in minor sports, there's got to be a little bit of that. But generally, like if you're playing college and above anything, you don't want the score to be run up. Fucking stop them. The end.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I
you're
agree. I
getting
mean,
shit kicked by 40 in basketball. Maybe try and stop them. Maybe don't let them make a fast break. Maybe don't let them hit layups because you can't play defense.
it all sounds super plausible to me, big dog. Just try a little bit, you know? I don't know. Yeah, some of the rules in sports, the golden rules, the unspoken rules they're dumb as shit. And yeah, like I said, Kansas City, we're not even a month into the year and you guys are stoked about playing us so you guys can get your get back. Like, bro, Jonathan India has been a Kansas City Royal for 15 minutes, okay?
Exactly.
Let's quit at like it is what it is. Like it is unfortunate. Nobody wants to see anybody catch a fucking 100-mile-an-hour ball to the side of the face. Like it sucked. It was unfortunate. Props to Jonathan India. He took it like a goddamn man. And obviously, I think there's I didn't see the picture till today, but I guess there's a picture of Jonathan India like them holding him back coming out of the fucking. I guess he was trying to come out of the dugout afterwards. Like bro, like the fact that anybody thought he did that on purpose is just ridiculous. Like I said, like we're not in a playoff run. We're not in the
It's the
playoffs.
ninth inning of a tight baseball game.
Yeah.
It's
In
different if
literally the first season of the year.
it's literally like if it's 9-1 and you throw up and inside at a play, okay, I'll give you a little bit of run to be pissed off. It's a 3-2 baseball game in the ninth inning. Do you think he wants to shatter his jaw? The answer is no.
Yeah, it's so fucking
Like I
stupid,
just
dude.
like, oh god, it's
But like I one
fucking
of the
rules of
ones
baseball.
today, I don't know if I wish I'd have saved it, but they were like, oh, I hope because Kwan hits leadoff. They were all like, there was a big string of tweets going around today saying that they hope Stephen Kwan's got an iron jaw because it's going to be tested. And I'm like, dude, you guys are losers. You guys are fucking losers. But it is what it's. And I don't know what the score is, but I know Gabriel Arias is like single handedly beating the Royals right now. I know it's like 3-0, and he just made a web gem. So.
That looks like a sack fly. That looks like it is a 4-0 Guardians game now. As I
Let's
have,
fucking go, boys. Fuck the Kansas City Royals, you pathetic piece of shit pond scum, no good, fucking just absolute poverty franchise, dude. You guys have 2 World Series. Well, you've only got one. The other one, you never should. One, I mean, Jesus Christ, that World Series where George Brett was out at first. You would think that fucking. I mean, if you ever go to Kansas City, they're so proud of that. Up until like obviously they've won that one, and then
yeah.
what they do after that, they basically just gave their entire team to the NBA MLB. They just broke the entire team up after the last one. Remember that? They said, "Oh, we won one. We'll just we don't need this team anymore. Fuck it."
Can I ask you a curiosity question about your opinion?
Yes.
Do you miss having 19 division games instead of 13 so everybody can play everybody? Because you would get an extra series of Royals and
Yeah, I think there should be
Guardians.
more of that. Yeah, for sure. I think that's so, and I think we talked about this earlier a couple weeks ago or during the opening week, where I think it's dumb that they've changed this thing. The way that they do these division rivalries and stuff like that. And like now, like we've played the Royals now twice in the first month. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
like, so like, how does that? What is the rule now? Like, we're not even. What do we only get one more?
Yeah, you get 13 games, so you got 6 or 7 games left with them. Like yeah, like the Jays play. The Jays got rained out in Baltimore tonight, so they're making up the game in July. But they'll play they're playing 6 games in the first 2 weeks of the season. They will play in right before the trade deadline in July, and then they got a series in mid September. That's their. It's kind of like I get. Trust me, I got fucking AL East talk coming for 2 seconds. I got fucking sick and tired of Yankees and Red Sox on my TV all the time, and that has to get out of my chest. Everything else, yes, please. Like
Yeah, no,
it's so tricky. I get why they, if you're the Colorado Rockies and you blow goats, you want to be able to see Shohei Otani or Aaron Judge, sorry, Aaron Judge in Colorado every other year. You want the Yankees in there. You want, all those teams. And, if you're the Miami Marlins, you want the Yankees coming in. Like, yeah, I get that part of it. But it's also kind of great to have, a series in the middle of June between the Guardians and Royals. That's like game 9 of their 19 game series. And, baseball shenanigans start. And then, you've got 3 more series of this to end. They're probably going to play a home and home sometime in late August, early September, too.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of the way they've kind of cut back on that. But yeah, I mean, it it is what it is. And, like I said, if hopefully we can take 2 of these series right off the bat from these cocksuckers because, like I said, they've been mouthing off all day, and I'd love that. So if you say it's 4-0 now, that's good. I was watching it before we got on here, and yeah, very exciting stuff. So I hope that we can, I think we're in Kansas City this week too. This time around, right?
No, they're in Cleveland. They were
They're
in
in
Kansas
Cleveland.
City
No,
to start the
we
season.
open in Kansas City. That's right. So
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So hopefully we can take a nice little weekend series from the Royals, and but yeah, the Guardians, man, the Guardians, they just kind of need to pick it up a little bit. I mean, they're kind of getting back on track now, but the pitching's been a little all over the place. Emmanuel Clase, who we were just talking about, he's kind of been, he's been very hittable. He just got the win the other day, so he hasn't looked right.
Yeah, he got the wind, giving up the single with the bases loaded, and the 3-1 run scores, and
The guy
the
blows his
runner to tie
goddamn
the game
hammy.
fucking blows a hand. Because I remember watching it live. I'm like, he's pulling up 40 feet short. What the hell? Like, why is
Dude.
he so DOA? And then you watch it, it's like, oh, and I'm like,
You're just like, you fucker. Like, you couldn't have just pumped a few more times to get in there. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure in that same game, or maybe it was the next game, that some guy blew his shit getting back on a pickoff against the Guardians too.
was it Andrew Benintendi got hurt? Yeah, the White Sox are already starting to look bad. It was really
But he
cute,
was diving back into first base and hurt something. But yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. I just want to. I just had to mention what a loser mentality Kansas City has for coming into this series. Talking about, oh, we're gonna fucking, get back. And like, bro, get fucking real. Like we're fucking 2 minutes into the season. Shut up.
Exactly.
All right. Well, while we're on the subject of Cleveland, before we hop into all of our normal shit, we will obviously, the other news coming out of Cleveland today is that the Cleveland Browns are bringing back 2023 Comeback Player of the Year.
Your boy.
My boy.
Your spirit animal.
Joe Flacco. So, look. It's a 1-year, $4 million deal. It's worth up to $13 million is what they're saying, which, who knows what the incentives are. We'll wait and see. But I assume, obviously, that means no Kirk Cousins. That's off the table, which is fine. After they decided not to cut him, I was not really in favor of trading. I don't even know if they can afford that, but I wasn't willing to give up assets to go get Kirk Cousins. So, as much as I've been pretty anti bringing Joe Flacco back, because in my opinion, like, look, if you guys have watched the show before, you know how I feel about this. Like, I think Joe Flacco was great when he was here. It was a fun time. But the guy's 40, right? And it ended with 2 pick sixes in a playoff game, and he shit the bed. So it was he looked like a 4-year-old guy. And last year in Indianapolis, sure, he had a few good games here and there, but he's had some pretty terrible fucking games since he's left the Browns. And he's only getting older. So I was like, the fact that Cleveland, and I love Cleveland to death, and I understand why they fell in love with him, right? Because they just yearn for any type of excitement or good things to happen for the Cleveland Browns. And we just want I get it. I mean, I want the Browns to be great, and I want them to win, and it was great watching him do his thing. So they all just fell in love with him, because it's been a while since we've had something like that, right? I mean, Baker took us to the playoffs at one time, but, that feels like a lifetime ago. And now it's, so him taking us there and getting us to the playoffs and that winning that game on Thursday night, that was a big deal. But they have fallen in love with him to the point where, like, they are obsessing over him. And it's to the point where, like, oh, ever since they left, that they didn't bring him back last year and they brought Jameis in, it's been, well, the reason this team is where it's at is because we didn't bring back Flacco. Like, get fucking real, right? Like, let's all get real here. Let's tamper the expectations. Now, where I guess the current landscape of things are, I think Dale, like he was saying earlier, he was like, oh, I can't wait to hear you talk about this. Like, I'm really not as upset about this as I was, or I could have been maybe before, because like I said, a lot of ships have sailed since that time. I don't know if I buy. A lot of people came out today and said, "Oh, well, this must mean that they're not going quarterback at 2," which I already don't know if we're going quarterback at 2. Like, I'm starting to believe we're not at this point, and it's kind of worrying me. I'm thinking Travis Hunter's the pick, and I'm hoping if we're not going to go quarterback, it's got to be Travis Hunter. Give me somebody on offense. Do not give me Abdul Carter. But there's people who say, well, this means that they're absolutely not going quarterback, or there's people who are going, well, this definitely means they're going quarterback, because and I still don't think we're going to go quarterback, but I don't think this by any means should mean that we are out on another. I mean, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, like, these are guys that should be your 2 and 3 guys, right? I mean, these are guys that, or if Flacco or one of those guys has to start but I definitely, like, you're not going into the year with these 2 guys feeling over the top confident, right? So 1 year, $4 million, I'm fine with it. I to be completely honest with you, I would start Kenny Pickett over Joe Flacco. To be honest with you, that's just me. But I also think we got to wait and see what's happening. I know Todd McShay. I don't know if anybody saw Todd McShay today, but big Todd McShay, which I will play this video real quick. I'm sure we're gonna get hit on something, but he released his mock draft today, right? His latest mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that video is no longer on Instagram, so let me hold on.
Holden. I think I will kill time while you pull it up. He will give you a professional start if you need it, and if you draft a quarterback, he will be a mentor that you feel confident will guide your future quarterback in the right way. Go ahead and play it.
Cleveland from 33 to 15. They already got Travis Hunter. They're bringing his trigger man with them, too, to Cleveland. I know this sounds asinine. I know everyone's like, there's no way. There's a way. Don't think they're done. And if it's not Shador, don't be shocked. If it's Jackson Dart, don't be shocked if it's Jalen Milroe. They're getting a quarterback, I believe, with that second pick. However they do it. If you're a Cleveland fan, start thinking with this mentality. If you decide you want to go move up for Shador Sanders, you then got to do a cost analysis, man. We love Travis Hunter. We're thrilled that we were able to get our best player in this draft, in my opinion, at pick 2. But we also decided not to take a quarterback there, and that same quarterback is on the board right now. But if I do really want Shador, I better make sure I get ahead of Pittsburgh. But I'm not going to start and be like, I'll call Sean Payton at pick 20. Because what if Pittsburgh, Shador gets to 15, 16, and there's a team out there, including Pittsburgh, if that's the case, and I don't know that it is, you're going to move up a couple spots. It's not going to cost, it's going to cost you like a 4th or something.
Right.
Move up a couple spots to go get him before some team comes swinging in.
Now, let me tell you something, boys. If they made that happen, I would shit myself.
I don't know how that would ever happen.
I don't either. Big Perk is who sent me that, and he's like, look, I think it makes sense. And I'm like, look, I think it's a long shot, but it'd be great. I mean, look, if they go get Travis Hunter, my only thing is I don't know if he's actually going to get there. I mean, I know that there's a lot of talk that even the Giants are thinking about. I mean, the Giants, they could still take him, but, they went out and got Russ. They went out and got fucking who's the other guy that they got? Russ and
who did they get?
Jameis, Russ and Jameis
right.
Winston, so they go and get those guys, and I mean they still, again, same situation here. I still think they need a young guy, right? I mean, I don't think that should 100% take them out of any, but those guys are a little bit more starter friendly than I think Joe Flacco is, right? Like, I think that those guys are, Russell Wilson has been a starter, has never not been a starter. Flacco's kind of been bouncing around, whatever. Jameis started all last year, so. I think that they still could take him, but I don't think so. I think I've heard a lot. I think they're kind of even leaning towards maybe taking someone like Abdul Carter, or if the Browns don't take Travis Hunter, I think Travis Hunter can end up there. Maybe not though, but I don't know if I don't know if Shador falls to 15. Maybe he does. I mean, I know a lot of people think that once you get out of those top 3 picks, a lot of those teams don't need quarterbacks at that point. They need other positions, and why would they? They're not just going to take Shador just so the Browns can't take him in 10 more picks. So they're obviously going to pass on Shador. Somebody that I think is interesting, though, that came out today. This is something that I think is super interesting, and I thought about it as soon as I saw it today, and then I saw that Coach Prime put up this tweet earlier. But if you guys have been watching the news, our boy Derek Carr has an injury that might require surgery that's going to take him out for the rest of the year.
Oh, this is news to me.
Louis Riddick then posts after that news comes out, that 9th pick's going to be all kinds of interesting. And here's Coach Prime with 2 eyes. Who's picking at 9? The New Orleans Saints. So that is a team I think you should watch out for. I think if Derek Carr is out for the year, they're saying he has got, let me look it up here. It's some type of shoulder injury that they're saying is, if he does get the surgery, he will miss all year.
Like Rotator Cuff?
Let's see. Ian Rappaport just says that he is Saints suddenly have major quarterback questions. Starter Derek Carr is now dealing with a shoulder injury that threatens his availability for the season. Carr is weighing options, including possibility of surgery. So they don't really say too much about him. But I mean, look, we saw Desmond Ridder last year, okay? He sucks.
Uh-huh.
Desmond Ridder sucks. And I'm pretty, and I almost, who's the guy? I'm trying to think who they got after. I think they had even a guy after that. It doesn't matter. Shador Sanders, I think if they find out that he's going to be out for the rest of the year, I think that is a team that you should definitely.
That would be a team you would have to think is taking a quarterback.
I mean, yeah, I think that's something. Yeah, I don't think they're going to pass that up, right? I think that's definitely a team to watch. So, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm really not too upset with this. I just hope that, like I said, I hope that the Browns aren't thinking now, okay, we've got 2 quarterbacks we can start. We can kind of pass on a quarterback for a minute because Flacco's 40 and Kenny Pickett's a number 2. We don't need, I don't want Kenny Pickett. I can trust him maybe starting a few games, but Kenny Pickett starting all year, no thank you. So what do you think about this?
That trade thought is crazy interesting. I think you're right that New Orleans, if that is true, and even if it wasn't true, I think they would be stupid not to be looking at a quarterback of the future because Derek Carr is...
that's what I'm saying. Even if he didn't have a fucking injury.
Yeah, he's league average at best now. So I would think, if saying Sanders wasn't there, Dart would be a perfectly fine guy to sit there and mentor underneath for a year, right? It makes the Browns real. Because it's almost like you see what happens at 1 and 2. You figure out what the Giants are going to do. And then if you want your guy, you got to probably get him before the Saints. I think.
Yeah, I definitely think the Saints are, like I said, I think that just makes a lot of fucking sense there. And
I would, even before that injury, if you're thinking of teams that need a quarterback, they don't need a quarterback. But they're not in love with what they got.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr, like you said, we know what Derek Carr is, and he might get you through. He's definitely better than Desmond Ridder, but I think I'd take a chance on a rookie as well. So
I would definitely agree with you there. So, and draft, what is it? 2, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, I believe.
Yep, 2 Thursdays. So it's going to be.
Can't wait.
Well, they're saying Jonathan India is seeing ghosts right now. Is he striking out a bunch right now?
I didn't want to interrupt your thought process. Jonathan India just dropped a pop-up, and now the Guardians have put in another 2 or 3 runs, and it's like 6 or 7 nothing.
Oh, let's go.
And also, it is, I believe it's like 5-1 Rays, which God makes me feel good to finally get on.
Yeah, somebody just said it's Jonathan India seeing Ghost right now, and it was a guy in a straitjacket being interviewed by the police. It says, and it's the guy going, "Is Emmanuel Clase in here with us right now?" So Diana Rossini says Derek Carr's shoulder development did not come as a surprise to the Saints. Surgery is being contemplated as both sides analyze next steps for player and franchise. He carries a $20.5 million cap hit in 2025.
I'm assuming if he goes on, like, sorry, I'm using hockey. If he goes on to long term, if he's on injured list for the whole year, they will save some cap space. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would
some number. Obviously, we don't understand the cap that much, but yeah. So it makes the draft a lot more intriguing now that it's not just gonna be like getting through 1 through 3 and then see what happens. 9 is another stupid, like 7, 8, 9. Now it gets a whole hell of a lot interesting. It's probably going to be 1, 2, 3 is fun, and then and then when you get to 7, you're going to see if people want to trade up. It's going to be a fascinating draft.
I mean, and then you got the Bears at 10, who people think they're going to take Ashton Janty, and I don't know. It's going to be good. I mean,
I don't know if he gets there.
I don't know. I almost don't know if he's going to be the first. I almost feel like there's a chance that he's not the first running back taken.
Wow, really? Interesting. The Hay kid is he's the Hay kid, but he's super high on him, which will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean everyone is. I mean the kid's a beast, but it's kind of like the Abdul Carter thing, where I think once you start looking at like Abdul Carter, like there are guys that I think should be probably graded over him. I don't I don't personally, but I've read that there are a lot of guys, not a lot, but there's a few guys that people would take over Abdul Carter. Like Abdul Carter's really great at certain things, but he's not so great at, I don't know, but same thing with Ashton Genty. Like I think there's guys like Judkins, I think there's guys that could be, I don't know. I mean, he definitely could be, but it'd be interesting. I mean, top 10, that'd be fucking crazy. Somebody mocked him. Some guy from, was it Pro Football? Maybe it was PFF yesterday. They somebody I'd never heard of. They had actually had us trading with swapping picks with the Giants, right? So the Giants were going to 2, we go to 3. Giants take Travis Hunter, we take Ashton Genty was what it was. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so.
You still are tied to Nick Chubb and hoping that Nick Chubb is
well, he's a free agent right now. So
okay.
But from what I understand, everyone is saying that, I think most people believe this anyway, is not a lot of teams are willing to throw money at him, especially with what he's coming off of and his age and everything. So I think there's the longer he's a free agent, I think the better the chances are he comes back to Cleveland on a 1-year deal. So
yeah, 1 year, 7, even if it's $5-6 million, incentivized the shit out of it. Go get yourself paid somewhere else. We'll ride.
No, I definitely think I hope we see Nick Chubb back. So, all right, well, let's bench the football talk for now. Let's get into we'll get into basketball. And then we'll wrap shit up with we've done we'll go into MMA or the UFC 314 for the last part. So, two big things coming in, two big stories in the NBA this week. Last week we had Taylor Jenkins getting fired pretty much out of nowhere by the Memphis Grizzlies, which we have both said, everyone here, I mean, most people here in around the world, in the basketball world, sports world in general, thought that was just pretty much one of the dumbest fucking moves you can make. 9 games for the playoffs, 2 weeks for the playoffs, you fire, you're in 4th place in the East, or the Memphis is the East, right?
West.
Memphis. So at the time they were in 4th in the West. And everything seems to be rolling, and they fire him, right? And then everybody goes, well, there has to be some type of shit going on here. They're like, for them to fire a coach like this, there has to be something going on behind the scenes, blah blah. Well, that turns out that Ja Morant didn't like him. He wants the ball more, even though that the ball is, they're playing some of their best basketball as far as team ball, and they've won. From what I understand, I think I was reading like their offensive numbers are better now that they have stopped letting him play hero ball all the time. And he's a great player. But the ball moves around a lot better, with the system. He wants the ball more, right? Even though they're winning, they're in fourth place. It's not enough for John Morant. He wants the ball more. They fired Taylor Jenkins 2 weeks for the playoffs. Everybody, what the fuck is going on here? One of the best coaches, one of the best young minds in basketball, great head coach. Somebody's going to be lucky to have him next year. Can't get worse than that, right? Well, you're sadly fucking mistaken, because less than 2 years ago, the NBA champion Denver Nuggets, remember the Lakers' daddy, the mouthiest team in the NBA 2 years ago, Nikola Jokic, right? Best player in the world last couple of years, back-to-back, two goddamn back-to-back MVPs, 3 in the last 4 years. The guy is just, he's a unicorn, right? Everything they do is right. They've been pretty much a powerhouse the last couple of years. They've owned the West. So OKC's kind of taken that title from them now, and they've kind of taken a dip back this year, but nothing to the point where you would think, oh, they need to fire their coach. Well, apparently you don't want to be in fourth place in the West, because you get to fourth place in the West and you fire your goddamn coach, apparently, because yesterday, or it was just 2 days ago now, we get the breaking news out of nowhere that Michael Malone gone. No more. Assistant coach will take over. And again, everybody goes, well, what the fuck? We're like 2 games from the, what is it, 2 weeks? We're like 4 games from the playoffs. We're like a week from the playoffs.
Yeah,
okay, they're
48 and 32. That's 80 games. They're 2 games away from the playoffs.
They're 2 games away from the playoffs. 2. Now, I think they were 3 or 4. 3, I think, because I think they've won 1 with the guy, because we picked him the other night, dead cat bounce. That worked, right?
Good job, dead cat bounce.
But it's funny, because the new guy wasn't even coaching. I don't know if you guys saw during timeouts, but did you guys see who was holding the clipboard during timeouts?
Yep.
Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
He's calling fucking plays. Here he is. Coach Jokic. And we find out that he was unhappy with the way things were going. He didn't like the way things were going. Players didn't like the way things were going. So we got rid of him, right? There's these problems that were brewing. They're saying that, these ran pretty deep. This has been going on a while. There's been some headbutting. Mike Malone had a pretty wild press conference 2 weeks ago where he basically said nobody on the team watched film, unless they forced him to watch film. Like, pretty eye-opening shit. And now, week and a half later, he gets fired. It kind of, you look back on that and you're like, oh, okay, maybe there was some shit here, right? But it doesn't matter. I don't know what happened to, unless there's you have to press that red button, there is something so serious going on that you just got to get this guy the fuck out of here. Whatever happened to just being professionals and getting through the goddamn, you're going to the playoffs. The playoffs. It's not what, so, I was just talking to Big Perkin the other day. It's what is even going to happen here? What's going to change? At no point is that. So is the new coach going to come in and implement a brand new system 2 games for the playoffs? No, right? So more than likely, he's coming in to coach Mike Malone's system.
Probably hired by Mike Malone. Right? So it's that's not happening. And I said this with the Grizzlies. 9 games left. What's this guy supposed to do? Come in and go all right, we're going to start from scratch. Forget everything Taylor Jenkins told you we're going to start. Taylor Jenkins got you to the 4 seed. Taylor Jenkins had you walking into the playoffs. Mike Malone won you a championship 2 years ago. You got in the playoffs last year. Pretty dominant last year. You're well on your way to the playoffs this year. What are you going to do? Have some guy come in, they're going to just forget everything that guy told you? I got a better way to do things? No. But now you got guys now you got this. You got timeouts. This is a critical point in the game. Look at her. Nobody on that bench looks bought in right now. My boy over here, St. Louis's own, right? Michael Porter, he's eating his hand. Fucking Michael Braun, whatever the fuck this white guy's name is. He doesn't care. Everybody's he's got that face is this motherfucker, is that Jokic drawing up plays? Not a coach in sight. It's a fucking joke, right? So Mike Malone fired 2 games for the playoffs. Nikola Jokic is going to be the coach apparently, and I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever happened to just getting through the playoffs and just fixing this at the end of the year? Fire him at the end of the year if that's the case. Exactly, and Mike Malone looks like he would be a hard coach to play for.
I mean, guy's
Definitely
a cocksucker, right? For sure.
Absolutely. So I understand why there's some mutiny. But what the hell are you gonna do? Nick, they're fourth place. If they lose both games, they could have to play in the play-in round. They're fighting. They got the same record as the Clippers. They're fighting for home court advantage. They could jump the Lakers and they could get third. They might have to play listen to this. So the Nuggets and Clippers are 48 and 32. The Warriors, Grizzlies, and Timberwolves all have the same record, one game behind them.
Holy shit.
Like, they could drop to 7 or 8 and have to host a play-in round. Like, that's a big fucking deal.
For the guy who's never coached an NBA game in his life.
Exactly. Or they could win both. The Lakers could lose one. And they could get the 3-hole.
Yeah, the whole thing is, it's fucking wild. And then the other part of it is like, you got to assume that, sure, there are probably players like John Morant, Jokic, these guys that asked for this, they're happy about this, but you got to think what this does to a locker room, right? I mean, like, you're just straight up firing. I'm sure, like, I saw that the Denver Nuggets said, "Oh, I hope we want this to, fire up the players," which it could do that for sure. And they went out and got their win and everything. It could, but you got to think there's players in that locker room that didn't want this, right? That weren't on board with this, that loved playing for Michael Malone, that thrived in the system. And now he's gone and basically out of nowhere. And from what we're going to read here in a second, he had no idea this was coming. Nobody had any idea besides Jokic this was coming, which they've already said Jokic knew this was coming. He met with the ownership. They told him this was coming. He gave them their blessing. So this is, it's a cold fucking world, dude. And it's like, you got to think that, like, yeah, I mean, was it Bane or I forget which Grizzly player was like, that I called Taylor Jenkins after the thing and had a couple hour conversation with him. He taught me a lot, but I mean, there's guys that aren't the star of stars that love playing for these guys, and like, now they're just gone because the main guy didn't like how things were going. And we're in a playoff spot. We're not out of the playoffs. We're not 5 games. We're not a bad team at all. We're a damn good team in the toughest conference in basketball. So we're thriving for the most part. I mean, sure, like you said, they're 1 or 2 loss, but that's just because the West is so wide open, so close right now. That just speaks to the difficulty of the Western Conference. And you're going to fire this guy and with a chance of alienating some of your. I mean, you got to think there's probably guys in that locker room that are looking at Jokic going, "Are you fucking serious?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that you went and had a closed door meeting with the owners of this team and got our coach fired 2 games for the playoffs?"
He's an asshole. Just do it at the end of that. Remember, that asshole helped you win your first NBA title too. I get it. So I was thinking about this today, and I was trying to think of a very good comp that isn't John Tortorella. Remember Mike Keenan, your boy?
Yeah. How could I forget?
Mike Keenan was a very hard-nosed asshole hockey coach. He loved his veterans. He fucking hated rookies because they haven't proved themselves. Mike Keenan could get the most out of pretty much any team he could, but he had max a 4-year shelf life. Realistically, probably 3. Is Mike Malone, I think, is not as much of a douche canoe as Mike Keenan. But Mike Malone probably has a shelf life at a place. But again, that asshole, that prick that's on the screen there, he led you to an NBA championship. He knows what he's doing. If you don't like him, get him canned. Go 1-2-3 Cancun, get swept by the Clippers, Warriors, insert team, fall apart, get him fired, re-show up the next year invigorated. It's not like, I just don't understand how this is a good move for any. And I think you bring up a great point, Nick. If you're Plumlee, or you're like you're getting solid minutes being the 8th guy off the bench, and you're getting 20 minutes a night, and you're just being professional. You're taking the shots that you get. You're doing the dirty work. You're getting the rebounds. You're hitting the ground for the ball. You know, those guys probably like playing for Mike Malone. I think you bring up a really interesting that I didn't think about. Jokic might be alienating himself from the
Well,
boys. In the
I don't know if
locker
you
room.
saw, but immediately after this, the Vegas odds for his next team came out. Like, there are already people saying. So the Lakers, I'm pretty sure right now are the favorite to get him, and OKC was on there. Cleveland was actually number 7, which I thought was crazy, which I don't want that. I think they'd have to give up like that entire fucking, what up, big dog? I think they have to break up way too much to get somebody like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is to me, I think is, will he leave? I don't know. But yeah, I think that opens the door. I think that, yeah, and same thing with John Morant. I don't know if John Morant's going to leave Memphis or not, but you got to think there are guys in that locker room who went, what the fuck? We are all getting the ball. We're all scoring. Ja, you're still averaging. I think he's still averaging over 20. Get his thing, doing his thing. We're in 4th place, and it wasn't good enough for you, so you went and got our guy fired. Jokic, you've won back. There is nobody in basketball. I would go as far as saying there's been nobody in the history of basketball. I'd go this far. There's been nobody in the history of basketball that has the control of the ball more than Nikola Jokic. There just isn't. That guy, there at any given every last thing that happens for the Denver Nuggets on the offensive side of the ball goes through that guy. There's a reason he's scoring 60-point triple doubles, right? He as a center, right? He's not a guard, he's a center, and he's getting 60, 20, and 10, right? I mean, the guy, every possession goes through him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it didn't matter.
And you need more?
And you need more, and you weren't happy? What the fuck else? What can he do for you? I don't understand. What?
You need to have some fucking gas left in the tank in the playoffs.
And play some defense. Why don't you? Why don't you play some goddamn defense? Because I've read about that too. I read that was one of the things that, their defense has been slipping. Okay, well, that's not Mike Malone should be coaching defense a little better, sure. But Jokic, as dominant as you are, maybe the most dominant offensive player we've ever seen in the game, ever, you are a negative on defense. You are a fucking parking cone on defense, okay? Like, you give zero effort.
It's funny because a very good comparable is the other guy we're going to talk about, Luka Doncic. And yeah, he flops around and does some dumb shit. He's not afraid to play a little defense when he needs to. He's not great, but at least he's going to try. Where it feels like Jokic just kind of does. All
right, you guys can score. Hurry up so I can get the ball back and go get another 2 rebounds, an assist, and then a 3-pointer. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I don't want to be awful on teams, but I kind of like who. We'll see when the matchups come out, but I'm super intrigued who gets Denver because
and I almost hope they lose because of this, dude.
Well, I'm kind of at the same thing. Like, all right, I will rattle it off, Nick. Back to the NBA standings, so they will never get they could get the Lakers, but I won't say for this scenario. Do you like the Nuggets or Clippers in a series? That's a very toss-up.
Honestly, right now I like the Clippers. I think Clippers are playing better ball. If they got Kawhi and James Harden, I think Clippers take that.
I think that series would have 7 written all over. Nuggets and Warriors. I agree. So I'm going to list all of them off that I think are plausible. Nuggets and Grizzlies.
Nuggets.
See, I think I would lean Nuggets. And Nuggets and Timberwolves.
So I saw Big Perk and a bunch of them on TV saying that they think they would take the Nuggets, but I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. Anthony Edwards, maybe. He might. Yeah. I mean, that would be a 7-game series for me.
Do you think that Gobert could slow him down to some degree? No?
Maybe. I don't know. That is a good matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota won that, for sure. I wouldn't be shocked.
So we have two hard, like, so you would say Clippers and Warriors you feel very confident about. You would take the Nuggets, and then the Timberwolves is a toss up. That's who they're probably going to get in the first round. There's an outside chance they could get the Lakers too.
Yeah, it's definitely. I hope they lose. I mean, and then then you got the Russell Westbrook thing, which everybody keeps calling Russell Westbrook the coach killer, but so that was the other part of this is that players were unhappy with how much faith Mike Malone has had in Russell Westbrook, and apparently he's causing issues on and off the court. And it didn't matter. Mike Malone was not willing to give anybody else any rotation minutes outside. They weren't willing to take anything away from Russell Westbrook to give him to give other guys any minutes. So I don't know. This whole thing it just reeks of shit. And so apparently, and so before we move on, this came out today, which they're saying that Mike Malone's reaction to being fired was not calm. Brian Windhorst says he doesn't blame him, but apparently it says he was called into the office and just I guess fired that day, which is so crazy. I mean it says that it got out pretty quickly in the NBA. That Mike Malone's reaction of being fired was not calm, which is not a surprise. I don't blame him. They sent shockwaves to the NBA. They announced the fire, and they fired their GM the same day. So I think that's just insane. Like I don't know. Like I guess if we're thinking that this is going to give you guys a kick in the ass, maybe, but just stupid, just fucking stupid.
Just play out the season. 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Get your coach fired. Come back rejuvenated with the coach that you want.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move to the other basketball story. So, like Dale just said, Luka Doncic is our other one. So Luka and his big return to Dallas. Pretty crazy atmosphere. Rolls up. I don't know. The Gatorade put out an ad that day that was wild. He's sitting there dribbling the ball, and he's got a Gatorade towel around his neck, but the way that it's folded, it says traitor across it. So he was basically, and then it said no love lost, like it basically just a fuck you to Dallas right before the game, which was crazy. There were reports that Nico and that the Mavericks were trying to line up big sponsorship deals with some of Luka's sponsors for the game, for the big return. And, to make to make it even more special, and Luka straight up just denied them the rights to all of it. Like, yeah, no, you don't get any of that. And their reasoning was, I don't play for their official reason was Luka does not play. Luka is now a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's just such a cold fuck you to Nico and the Mavs. They do the big, everybody gets a, are you guys going to talk about that? We might get to that. We got some shit we got some UFC stuff to talk about. We will get to that sometime in the next couple episodes or by the next episode. Because that is a big story. But Luka, like I said, they do the everybody gets a shirt, right? Everybody's in the house. Dirk's there. They do the big video presentation. He's crying. He showed up in all black. Like, this was a big deal, right? I mean, everybody. This was the most anticipated game of the rest of the year, going into the playoffs, and he didn't disappoint. Luka scores 31 in the first half, comes out just absolutely hotter than shit. Couldn't miss. You could tell the Lakers were willing, this was a Luka game, right? It was so obvious that, LeBron, I think, had his moment. LeBron was over 20 in the game too, but it was so obvious that everybody was just, we want Luka to do his thing. 31 and a half is not un-Luka-like, that's for sure. It's crazy because it was funny. They were like his first 30-point half of the season, and he's got like 40 of those in his career, which is insane. But comes out, drops 31, ends with 45. Anthony Davis, he was not too good in the first half. Kind of showed up in the second half. He ends with 13, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 of 13. Good to see him back on the court, though. Najee Marshall was the guy in that game for him, though, leading the way with 23, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. Guy's been nice ever since everybody kind of got hurt. Najee Marshall is kind of taking a step forward. But yeah, the Lakers, man. Luka, 7 of 10 of 3, 16 of 28. The guy was on fucking fire, dude. This was everything I expected the comeback game to be. What about you?
Yep, that's You knew the Lakers were going to do everything in their power to give him the ball and let him beat Luka so he could have that moment. But in enough LeBron to make mixed in, you know, the crowd was on fire. Crowd chanting for the GM to fuck off. Like
it's so good. And the Fire Nico stuff's so good because they've been doing that since the trade, right? But it's kind of maybe not lost steam, but Mark Cuban, who's actually been, pretty vocal about the new owners and the way they've been doing things, but he was like, and some of the, like PJ Washington, some of the players came out and were like, we don't want to hear that shit. We understand you guys are upset, but like it doesn't do anything for us for hear you guys chanting Fire Nico all game. Like we need you guys locked into us, So I get that point, but last night or 2 nights ago, that did not fucking matter. The Fire Nicos were out in full force. I mean, there was that we had posted on Instagram. There's that video of where he's just standing there in the tunnel or like right out of the tunnel. And there's just crowd. I mean, the whole crowd is chanting Fire Nico and the cameraman's just right on him. And it's just like the people around him are chanting at him. Like it's brutal, right? I mean, it was, people had Fire Nico signs. Lakers fans already travel amazing, right? They always do. They've got there's Lakers fans everywhere. Every corner of the fucking earth has Laker fans. And they always travel well, but they traveled even more so that night. And then even Dallas fans felt like they were rooting for the Lakers in that game. Like even when LeBron scored, that place was going nuts. Bronny came in for some garbage time at the end. They were cheering for him. But Luka, every time he touched the ball, they went nuts. I mean, they were. It was beautiful. I mean, it's good for him. Like you said, you saw him crying during the pre warm up ceremony, like when they introduce him and they show the video, and you could tell, like, I mean, and even me watching the video, like, you're like, damn, like, you kind of, I think people really do tend to forget how young he was when he got there. And like, I think people forget, like, he's been in the league a minute now. Like he's not a vet or anything. He's been around 10, 15 years, but he's been in the league a minute now. And I think people really do forget, like I said, just how young he was when he came into the league. I mean, he basically came over here as a teenager and has grown up in Dallas. And you see that, and then him get traded like that was wild. So to see him, and then after the game, he's saying stuff like, "I didn't know if I was gonna be able to play this game. I'm glad this game's over." Like it was really weighing on him and shit. Like he was ready to just get this over with. So it was cool for him to go out there and be able to turn that. I mean, it literally within the matter of minutes, he is crying. He literally shut that shit off. They tipped the ball and he dropped 31 in the first half. And I know they were saying that the record was like 51 or 52 or something for a guy going back into his old team's building. That was like the record. And a half when he had 31, I think everybody thought he was going to break that, right? Everybody's like, God damn. Ends with 45. It kind of not really cooled off. I mean, 15 more points, in the second half. Not bad by any points, but LeBron kind of picked it up a little bit. Rui Hachimura had a good game. But yeah, I mean, this is as cold-blooded as it gets.
Yep, it was. I'm happy he got to have that moment, and that there might be a better exclamation mark somewhere along the line, but that was the perfect. Like for now, that was the perfect. Fuck you, put this behind me. It's time to concentrate on the playoffs for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and exactly, and I think that's what he needed. And somebody made a good point. I don't know who it was. Somebody on ESPN. So a lot of them don't have good points, but somebody had a really good point where they were saying, I think he became a Laker that night. I think like he actually became a Laker that, like, obviously he's been a Laker a minute now, but like you said, you go in there. This has been weighing on him. You knew that no matter how many games they had before this was the game he's been thinking of. It's been in the back of his mind. It's been weighing on him. So now it's kind of like you went in there with your new team. You punked them. You did your thing. You beat them. You got the W. You balled the fuck out. You did everything that you possibly could. You had the whole arena chanting for you. You had the whole arena chanting to fire the other guy. Anthony Davis looked like shit. So it was like everything you could ever want. Now you can just swallow it, put it behind you. Everything, you got the storybook return. Now it's just, let's focus in on a Laker. Even when you go back to Dallas, it's just another game in Dallas after the sure. It's going to be games in Dallas. It's going to be stoke some emotion, but it's not like the first one, right? So you got it out of the way, and yeah, I think when somebody said, he really, maybe it was Lewis Riddick or Ryan Clark or somebody, I don't know, but they're like, I think he became a Laker that night. Like I think he is solidified.
It's an interesting point, and it makes sense. It does make sense. Like it's over. He is a Laker, but now that chapter of being a Mav is over. He's got turned the final page, and now he can totally focus on being a Laker.
Yeah, I'm happy for Luka, man. Good for Luka. Fuck the Dallas Mavericks, dude. I hope Anthony Davis gets the fuck out of there after this year. I really do, because I love Anthony Davis too. But
can I ask you about Anthony Davis? Because when I did my solo stream, I kind of gave him some props for not tapping out. I did see that they're in 10th, so they will be in the play-in. It's looking all locked up, but like that dude could have just like, well, fuck, I'm hurt. I'm not coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. But can I be honest with you? Like, I 100% I agree with that, and I do think part of it was he just wanted to come back and give Dallas that, right? But I think just for his own future, like I think he, because even if he does leave Dallas this year, like say, like no, the chances are somebody's going to feel better giving him a deal if he finishes the year, right? Like instead of, you played in Dallas for one half, blew your shit, never played another. So props regardless, right? I mean, because he's still Anthony Davis. So if he decided to go that route of not playing anymore, I'm going to leave or whatever, pack it up, he's still Anthony Davis. He's still going to have 30 teams are still going to want Anthony Davis after this year, and it doesn't matter. But I do think that he is, it doesn't hurt to go out there and just dominate, right, for a couple weeks, and then even if you don't make the play-in or you do go to the play-in and lose, whatever, you're like, okay, remember Anthony Davis came back and was dropping 20 and 15, right? So, but super props to him. And I love Anthony Davis. I mean, I think it was an unfortunate move for him too, right? I think it sucks that it had to happen for him, but look, I think if they can go get him a play, I saw somebody say this too, which I don't know if it totally fixes things for Nico Harrison, but if Nico is able to go out and get Kevin Durant this offseason to pair with Anthony Davis, would that fix a little bit of this issue for you? Now, obviously, it doesn't fix everything, right? Because you still traded your generational talent who is 25 years old, 26 years old. Anthony Davis is not the future of, I mean, in the long-term future, right? But and neither is Kevin Durant. But you get Kevin Durant, I mean, him and Anthony Davis, that's.
I think it depends how deep you go in the playoffs. I think you're right. I think it would help mend a little bit of those bridges, but you gotta almost go to the Western Conference Finals to make them. And I'm not even like semi forget about it.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, I personally don't think it would do a whole bunch. I do think that and maybe Kyrie comes back second half of the next year after the the ACL and maybe they do go on a run, but yeah, I think, I don't know, Nico Harrison's fucked regardless, but I don't think he makes it through this offseason. Honestly, I really don't. I think this coming time next year they've got a new GM, and I don't know, and especially if Anthony Davis says I'm fucking out of here, right? I mean, he looks around, he goes, you've got Daniel Gafford, you've got who's the other guy? They've got like three guys his size, and it's like just kind of a weird setup there. So
yeah, get
out. So hope he does. But props for both those guys. I'm glad they got that game out of the way, and we can kind of just forget about it. But shout out to Luka. Big game for Luka, and I hope that if it's not the Cavs, hopefully Luka can get a title this year. But it's the Cavs first. Well, it's actually Cavs and OKC first, and then it's LeBron. So, all right. Let's get into the last thing we're going to talk about today. Let me refresh our bets real quick. We are 6-3 right now. Tampa Bay into 8. Good shit. 5-1 San Francisco, top of 5th. Ooh, we need some runs in Detroit, Minnesota. They are not scoring right now.
No. Good for the guillotine because, quick guillotine update. Somehow we're in last place, tied for last place going into today. But 11th place is 7 points behind us. So, butt clinching weekend. And we cannot get a tiebreaker on anybody because we have the first overall. So we have to finish above against who's dead last. Buckle up. So
I fucking hate it, dude.
David Festa, I got super excited. Is pitching for the Twins. Rephrase, my Twins today. They came up from AAA, which is great. The rain out forced Bowden Francis start's going to get skipped because they're going to put Jose Barrios in. Like, fuck. Well, at least that worked out okay. But yeah, so it'll be a fun weekend. Don't worry too much about it. If it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. So, but I can't remember where I was going with that. Baseball. It's all good.
Well, right now, before we get into the UFC,
UFC, yeah.
Pat McAfee just tweeted. So I guess everybody saw Pat McAfee had a live show in Pittsburgh last night or the other night, and it was a big deal, right? I mean, sold out stadium, fucking, Big Ben there, all of Sidney Crosby, Paul Skeens, like all the guys were there. I mean, it was like a blowout, big blowout. Well, he says, "What's up?" He just tagged Andrew McCutchen, Pirate Andrew McCutchen. He says, "What's up, Andrew McCutchen?" We'll tagged him. There was an entire suite given by me to the Pirates for their players to use at the big night out. I thought that was the right play. I think it was for the guys that asked to go. Would have loved to have you there next time. So I don't know what this is about, actually.
Oh, Pat.
You're a guest here. You chose person. Why so petty? Clutch's personal Pittsburgh legend. Have had an exclusive invite to the party. So I'm assuming he's saying that. Oh, it says, okay, so what he said, this is coming from missing one other Pittsburgh legend, is what it says during the show. And Andrew McCutchen says, didn't get invited. So he replies, says, would have loved to have you next time, hopefully. And it's Elmo, just given the. So Pat McAfee's just being a petty fuck. But whatever. Shout out to Pat McAfee for that. That was sick.
Pat McAfee, petty fuck? No. Not at all. That's okay though. It's time.
Sorry, I'm listening to Isaiah
What?
Thomas is ripping LeBron right now because LeBron is working out. He's shooting around with no shirt on. He says, "I would never let one of my players walk out on the floor looking like this. We ain't at the YMCA." Isaiah, shut the fuck up. All right, let's get into UFC. All right, boys. UFC 314 tomorrow. Big one. Big dog. Big one. Probably the best one of the year so far. Thank God we've had some dog shit cards start this year. That ends tomorrow. Thank goodness. UFC 314. Miami. At the Kate Kasaya Center. Headlined. I think it's Kasaya. Who knows what the fuck it's called. But close enough. Headlined by the one and only, the great Alexander the Great Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez for the vacant 145 belt. Ilia Topuria moved up to lightweight, so now we've got Volkanovski and Diego Lopez fighting for the belt. If you guys remember Alexander Volkanovski, he lost the belt to Ilia Topuria, so he is kind of, I'm sure this is bittersweet for him. It sucks he can't fight the guy he lost it to, but still gets a chance to the belt. Diego Lopez is an up and comer. I mean, absolutely lethal hands. Guy's just a beast when they stand over each other. When they face off, dude, it's like, oh my goodness. Like Diego Lopez. See if I can pull up these face offs, but like he is so much taller than Volkanovski. Somebody had pictures of all of them earlier, and I guess. But we got a couple fights like this tomorrow. We got a couple fights like this that are going to be, they're going to have some pretty big weight or height discrepancies, which I'm excited to see how that's going to work. I'll show you. Here's a freeze frame of it. Here's them facing off.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, he's looking down at Alexander Volkanovski. So the height there is pretty crazy. I would assume. Let's see what the official height is. So the official height 5'6" and 5'11", so 5 inches.
Can I ask a just kind of novice UFC question? Is it reach or height more of a worrisome thing for you?
Reach, probably.
Right. That's what I kind of figured. Like the height is definitely an issue, but if you have 5 extra inches of reach, that's where you're going to have to get inside his striking zone to really do damage. Correct?
Yeah, so this gonna be a good one. I mean, we'll work our way up, but I definitely think that this is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of nervous about this one. I'm a big Volkanovski guy, but I like Diego Lopez too. So we're just gonna do we'll start right here at the one prelim. Tomorrow, I think I'm gonna do a short video, just me. I'll give you my official like a prediction video or something. But we're gonna kind of go through these real quick, and we'll kind of give you our thoughts on these real quick. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a good one, man. I mean, this is the other one right here. Sean Woodson, Dan Ige. Sean Woodson, straight out of St. Louis, Missouri. This guy, dude, look at the height. You thought this height difference was bad. Look at this one. Well, look at this. So he made this picture. But he's got the St. Louis all over his stomach, which is sick. The arch.
Oh, that's
downtown
okay.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
But dude, look at the picture of these guys.
Yeah, that is a holy crap. That's a big problem.
It's a big boy problem, dude. It's gonna be a good one though. Dan Ige is an absolute savage. I love to watch him fight, but obviously we're rolling with Sean Woodson here, St. Louis guy, 13-1. Dan Ige's a vet, been in some pretty big fights. I would assume that Sean Woodson's kind of been on a tear, so I think that this is kind of like the role reversed, where I think they're kind of pushing Sean Woodson, and Dan Ige's kind of getting fed here. So I'm gonna go with Sean Woodson on this one. I think Sean Woodson's gonna look good. Dude, I mean 78-inch reach, 70 to 71 for Dan Ige. There, I mean, that's
7 inches. Wow.
7 inches of reach, and and Dan Ige's 5'7", Sean Woodson's 6'2". So I think that this is going to be, and Sean Woodson's got nice striking. He's really good at utilizing and keeping people at distance. Dan Ige's a savage of him. If anybody can get inside and throw some heat, it's going to be Dan Ige. But I don't think Dan Ige is going to do very well in this one. I think Sean Woodson's about to eat him up. To be completely honest,
is Dan Ige going to have to? Is his, again, novice questions? I'm casual UFC person at best, but is Dan Ige's road to victory making a 7-foot or 7-inch reach and height advantage go to the mat, and that's his way of getting?
Yeah, I mean, Dan Ige definitely could try to take this to the mat, but Sean Woodson's got some grappling too. I mean, he's got 62 takedown accuracy, 84% takedown defense. So he's got really good takedown defense. Sean Woodson's he's a pretty well-rounded guy. I mean, he wins a lot. So decision 62% of the time, KO, but 31 only 8% by sub. But he's pretty well-rounded. And I think Dan Ige is going to have a lot of trouble anywhere they go in this fight. To be honest with you. So look for Sean Woodson to win this fight. So this should be a good fight to win the end. There's a bunch of good fights on this one. We don't have time to go through every single one of them. But Darren Elkins would be a good one. Julian Erosa, 2 old guys. Jim Miller, Chase Hooper. Jim Miller, we talked about him the other night. Only got to fight on UFC 100, 200, and 300. I think he probably Chase Hooper's a bad boy, right? Up and comer guy, but minus 800 favorite. And I know Jim. This is one of those things where if you got money, just throw $20 on Jim Miller plus 55. 550. I mean,
Jim Miller's plus 660 right now. He opened up plus 300. Wow.
Yeah,
that's worth like
throw some money on that.
Even if you're a tiny bettor, you throw $5 on that makes you like 40. Just chalk it up to a bad bet and move on.
You definitely throw some money on Jim Miller. So that's going to be some good fights, though. I mean, this whole fight card is going to be good. But we're just going to do the main fights. We were supposed to have. I forget what. There was another fight on this one that got canceled, but now we got Nikita Krylov and Dominic Reyes kicking off the main event. I really don't give a shit about this fight. I mean, these guys have both been around a long time. Dominic Reyes is the underdog. Dominic Reyes, if everybody remembers, he got famous because he basically beat John Jones. He's one of those guys that beat John Jones but didn't beat John Jones. I think he beat him in the decision. Everybody thinks he beat him in the decision, but it was one of those, he didn't, to beat the champ, you got to beat the champ, and he didn't do that.
Gotcha.
Basically turned his career around. He held on to that. He's never given that up, and he's kind of just living off the fact that he beat John Jones or almost beat John Jones. And he just complains about it all the time, and he's kind of just fallen off since then. So not really that exciting of a guy to win. They're both coming off wins. Nikita Krylov, exciting guy. Been fighting for a long goddamn time. He's from Ukraine, so I'm gonna be rooting for him this time. Viva Ukraine! I watched a good documentary last night. If anybody cares, go watch the documentary. The other side's about Sean Flanagan. What was some guy? One of the guys. He was actually one of the guys kidnapped by ISIS back in the day, like when they were beheading everybody. He was there with James Foley, the guy from America who got his head all cut off and shit. He was one of the prisoners under ISIS, and there. But he was a journalist, and now he's survived all that. Now he's still made. But he made one where he embedded himself on the front line with the Russian troops that invaded Ukraine over the last year, and it's fucking wild. Like, obviously he's pro Ukraine, but like
Netflix?
it's actually a documentary. You have to buy it. It's like $4.99 to rent it. I rented it on Amazon. You can rent it on Prime. You can rent it on YouTube. It's like $4.99, but it's really good. So
cool.
So yeah, we're gonna go Krylov here. This could be a good one. I really don't know. Dominic Reyes is definitely gonna have some. I guess not. Dominic Reyes is 1 inch taller and he's got a ½ inch less reach.
Little short arms.
So rooting for Krylov here. All right, here's the big one. There's outside of these two main ones. Obviously, Diego Lopez, Volkanovski, Chandler, Paddy Pimblett are the big ones. But outside of that one, this is the main event of the people. Bryce, the Earth's flat. Hitler wasn't a bad guy. Mitchell is fighting Gene the Lord Silva of the Fight Nerd camps. We just talked about Fight Nerds the other day. They're that camp that wears the nerd glasses with the tape. Carlos Paredes, one of the guy, he smokes 10 cigarettes a day. He's still cigarette smokes. He's one of the best fighters in the world. Just chain smokes cigarettes. Like, there's literally a video of him today getting into his car after training, and he's like, obviously he's faking, but he's like shaking, and he's like reaching into his glove box, and he pulls out a cigarette and smells it, and he's like, he puts it in his mouth and lights it and just takes a fat drag. So this guy's got cardio for days, just smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Fight Nerds are nuts, but this one, obviously, Bryce Mitchell. Every few months he makes headlines. Recently, because he was the guy that said, Hitler really wasn't a bad guy. I'd like to go whatever, blah blah blah. Basically saying that the Jews forced Hitler's hand, and and he's a complete fucking idiot. He's one of those guys that he's a conspiracy theorist, that spent too much time on the internet. He's a flat earther. But he's super religious, that type of guy. So everybody, is kind of against him right now. Some people, obviously that he does radiate with a lot of Americans. They all think like that, and they're fucking, especially the Midwest Americans.
I think it's very crazy. I'm just looking on the Action Network. So they have Silva opened up at -340 and is down to plus or -190. And they have the racist opened up at plus 270 and down to plus 200, which I think is
so people are starting to think this fight might. So he said a cold ass line yesterday that got everyone kind of. So Bryce Mitchell, again, everybody loved Bryce Mitchell for a while because he was just like the dumb redneck, and like he came in and like, but no one really listened to him talk too much. But he was just kind of a dumb redneck. He did this. There's a submission called the Twister, which is something that does not. It's super hard. Submission to pull off. It's only been pulled off a couple times in UFC history, maybe even MMA history. But Bryce Mitchell's got one of them, right? So when he did that, everybody, and he hasn't been talking a lot, everybody goes, oh my God, this cute little redneck who's pulling out crazy submissions, and he's just this country bumpkin. He made a big stink. He's like, I really want camo shorts, let me get my camo shorts. And he finally got him. They said, if you win the next one, we'll get him. He won, so he was like a fan favorite for a while, right?
Okay.
Then and then he started opening his mouth, and he started talking basically.
Things. Yes.
Yeah. So he's kind of back down right now. Well, he's yesterday, right? So, but he's like a legit redneck. I mean, legit, religious farm guy that lives off the farm, does everything on his own. Like, he is hillbilly to the bone.
Okay.
And he was saying yesterday. So Gene Silva, Lord Silva here. Which he hates that. He goes, you can't be a man of God if you're calling yourself the Lord when there's only one Lord, like he is. Okay. It's very, so Lord Silva, and he's like, oh, I'm going to beat you till you think the root, the earth's not flat, blah, blah, all this stupid. So they've been going back and forth. Well, Gene Silva, one of his things is that he barks, right? He starts barking and he gets the crowd to bark with him. Well,
okay, cool.
So Bryce Mitchell said, I've put down a lot of dogs in my day, basically he goes, but by dogs he meant wolves and things that have come up and eaten his livestock. Because he goes, I've put down a lot of dogs in my day. He goes, you know what they all have in common? They squeal before they die. And it was such a cold line that everybody was just kind of like, oh shit. Like, and I think that line is what is moving the fucking lines today. I really think that people were I think people have got more like confidence in him after that. I really do. Like, I don't know why, but there have been more talks of him being like, oh, the upset since then.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you this is a betting question. Would you feel more comfortable if I told you you can only do one of two things? You either bet Bryce Mitchell at plus 200 ish money line to win, or you put Gene Silva in some sort of a parlay at minus 190. What would you feel more comfortable with? Because you think this fight is closer than like you think the way you're like this is just me knowing you. You think that this fight is not quite a coin flip, but kind of like it's like a 55-45.
Yeah.
Silva.
I mean, I lean Silva here. Like, I think
okay.
Silva, and Silva's on an absolute tear right now. I think that whole fight camp's on a tear. I think he's the better fighter, but you never know. I mean, like, again, Bryce Mitchell. People are, Bryce Mitchell. I mean, 17-3. Guy is not a slump. I mean, a couple years ago he got put to sleep. I mean, bad by guy who just fought a week ago. Oh fuck, what is his name? Josh Emmett. And I mean, hit him so hard that he was like snoring in the they had to like go off camera. They were like showing everybody else because he was snoring in the ring. Like it was one of the most brutal knockouts you're ever going to see. And I think people just keep thinking about that. Bryce Mitchell's no slump. I think I would probably say I'd rather put Gene Silva in a parlay. But again, this is one of those ones that you might want to just throw like $10 on Bryce Mitchell. Because I mean, Bryce Mitchell could win this one. But if you're only going to pick one, I think Gene Silva gets it done. I do.
Would you feel more comfortable laying more money on Mitchell money line or laying less money on Miller money line? So say you would either bet $20 on Mitchell to make 40, or you could bet $6 on Miller to make your 40.
Bro, give me Jim Miller, dude.
Okay.
Jim Miller is a deadly motherfucker, dude.
I won't make a full unit bet on it, but I will probably put like a quarter or a half unit on it to make.
Dude,
to make
Jim Miller is so violent that I just don't think that Chase Hooper. I don't even understand. I mean, Chase Hooper's nice, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. He just might outman him. Like just.
Are you watching this pay-per-view somewhere?
Yes, I will be watching.
Well, are you?
Yeah,
are you going with
I'm gonna watch it
or?
here. I don't know. My dad might come over. He said he might come by. He wants to see the new cat, but he also might not. He also is getting old and he doesn't come out. So more than likely, I have not. I'll probably just be chilling. So
my people and your people keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Because I was explaining to my child the UFC and he's never seen it, so it's a great time to learn.
Yeah, and we can probably we'll figure something out. I definitely be down to watch it. So. All right, let's move on. So we got 3 more fights. So Yair Rodriguez, this is going to be a good one, boys. Yair Rodriguez, absolute savage. And we've got Patricio Pitbull, UFC debut. Guy's been around a long time. Former Bellator champion, brother's a fighter. Both Pitbulls have been around for quite a while.
Can I ask another question? Sorry, I'm interrupting because I'm asking
Fine.
questions because I want to learn. When did Bellator? Please explain to me what happened to Bellator, because when you said that last night, I never even heard that they folded. So please.
So
explain what happened to
Bellator got bought by. Bellator got bought by. Let me see who bought him real quick. So. I believe the PFL, is who bought them. So the Professional Fighting League bought PFL and basically took all of their fighters in, and so I'm trying to think. I think it was PFL bought them, brought some of their fighters over, and it basically just like announced that Bellator wasn't going to have any more events. But I think it was. I'm trying. No more Bellator. Professional, yeah. Okay, here you go. So Bellator just no longer exists as a separate. Bellator MMA no longer exists as a separate entity. The Professional Fighting League (PFL) dissolved Bellator MMA and is now using the Bellator brand for a series of championship fights, with the events now falling under the PFL banner. So the Professional Fighting League (PFL) acquired Bellator in late 2023, but a real merger never materialized, and Bellator folded, with no more fights scheduled under the Bellator name.
Oh, the more you know.
So people like Pitbull, they needed a place to go. And this is one of those guys that for a long time, people have wanted to see him in the UFC. But he was just, he's on top of his own game. So do his own thing. So he never made the chance over there. And now he's got the opportunity. So this would be a good one. I know Franks, he doesn't have too much faith in Pitbull. He's thinking he's old. He thinks Yair Rodriguez is gonna handle him. And this is another one when they stand next to each other. There's a, 5 inches of height, Patricio's kind of Michael Chandler guy. He's a short, stocky wrestler, heavy hands, likes to wrestle. Yair Rodriguez is a karate, high kicks, crazy. Throwing crazy moves and shit. So this is gonna be a banger. I'm leaning Yair Rodriguez in this one, just because he's the younger fighter, he's fresher, and he's been in the UFC. But I don't know. I really don't know. If Pitbull, I am 50-50. I wouldn't bet any money on this. This is 50-50. If Pitbull wins this, who I'm rooting for Pitbull. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. But I really could not tell you which way this fight was going to go.
What do they have Patricio at? Because I only have NA for. So what do they have him at plus money? Plus.
They don't have him. They have no odds for this fight.
Okay, no worries. Because it's funny on Action Network. It has Rodriguez anywhere from like minus 175 to 194, but they don't have anything for Patricio for a money line, which is kind of
yeah. They're the only one that has no odds listed.
I wonder if there was weight problems or something. Probably not, but
yeah, I don't know. That is weird.
I think that's really weird because minus 175, I would be thinking Patricio is probably in the plus 125 to 30 range. Maybe a little like plus 120 to 30. I think I could comfortably say. So taking an educated, well, maybe even a little higher because the next fight we have is minus 145 and plus 130. So it might even be a little higher than that.
Yeah, no, I sorry, I was trying to read that. So Tampa Bay, I saw that just go green. So Tampa Bay just went green. Let's go, baby. Fuck Atlanta. Woo woo.
Woo-hoo.
But yeah, I don't know. That is kind of weird. They don't have any. But yeah, I would assume Yair is going to be the favorite. I really do. And he probably should be. I don't disagree with that. I think he probably should be the favorite, especially him. Patricio coming into the. He's 38 years old coming into the UFC. He's an older guy, but I think he's got a little gas left in him. So speaking of older guys, again, same situation basically. Michael Chandler just came a little bit earlier. Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett. Michael Chandler's another guy. Everybody always wanted to see him in the UFC, right? He was always Bellator. He was always in the other fighting under different banners and stuff like that. Never made it to the UFC. Well, he finally gets to the UFC. He's a little late in his career. He's kind of pretty much over the hill. He'd already had the Eddie Alvarez trilogies and a lot of his legendary fights. He'd taken a lot of damage. He's been in a lot of wars, a lot of things before he even got to the UFC. Comes to the UFC. He beats Dan Hooker right off the bat. A lot of people thought Dan Hooker was going to beat him, and I always tell everybody, like, this guy, he's a wrestler. He's going to swing for the fences. He's got heavy-ass hands. That's what he does. And what's he do? Fucking dipped his head through a big-ass right hand, knocks Dan Hooker down, finished him off. But ever since then, he's like 2-4, 2-5 in the UFC. It's kind of sad because like he's a wrestler. He's like Justin Gaethje kind of. He's a wrestler by trade. Always was a wrestler through school. That's what his base is. But he started knocking guys out, and he kind of just stopped using his wrestling. Right? He loves knocking guys out. Loves to get into these big exciting wars. And it's kind of sad because now he's basically just delegated down. He's relegated to. It's almost like he doesn't even care if he wins or loses. He just wants to put on a big exciting fight. Like, he goes out there, throws caution to the wind in every single fight, just gets into these Hail Mary, wars, and he usually gets touched. He usually gets knocked out. He usually gets finished. He just doesn't. He's just not a clean puncher. If you got a guy that can throw down the middle or have any type of crisp punches, you got a guy, Michael Chandler, who he's throwing absolute missiles, but they're wide shots. He's just fucking winging them at you, and if you can just duck or have any kind of boxing, you're gonna fuck him up. So that's what happens with him. Last fight, I believe his last fight was the Oliveira fight, which is when, another big moment for him where he was getting destroyed the entire fight. There becomes a point where Charles Oliveira gets behind him and he's about to suplex him. Or no, he's on Michael Chandler's back like a backpack. So he's like trying to lock in a choke. He's got his legs wrapped around Michael Chandler's waist. So he's basically just Michael Chandler's just carrying Oliveira around, trying to get him off his back. Michael Chandler looks into the camera and yells, "Fuck it," in the last round, in the last 2 minutes of this fight. Remember when he jumps backwards?
I now know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that was Michael Chandler, right? And it was awesome. It was cool to see, but that's him basically. He knows he's not winning that fight. He's just trying to give an exciting. So that's kind of guy. So same thing as that's same situation as Pitbull. But like I was telling Frank, so Frank thinks that Pitbull is going to have the same situation as Chandler, where he comes in too late. He's washed up already, and he kind of just gets chinned, right? Where he gets knocked out. He doesn't think he's going to. He's just coming too late. I don't think so. I think that at 38 years old, yes, he's an old guy in Pitbull, but I think Pitbull's got life left. I think Michael Chandler kind of got here a little too late, and I don't think things really ever panned out. Now, I get Michael Chandler's been in big fights the whole time. He's fought the who's who's since he's been there, but he loses a lot of these fights. And this is a fight that I think he loses. Look, Paddy Pimblett, a lot of people hate on Paddy Pimblett. He's looked rough in some fights. He's won them all, but maybe he did lose
People
one.
Don't like, is he, sorry, is he just not a Ireland darling that's not Conor McGregor?
Yeah, well, they just, dude, a lot of people don't like him just because, they hate anybody that comes in and talks and is cocky, right? So he comes in, he's cocky and all that stuff. He hasn't lost in the UFC. I was thinking of somebody else, but he's a mouthy guy. He comes in, he's a lot more respectful than Conor McGregor, but he comes in, he tells everybody he's the best. And but he's coming from Cage Warriors. A lot of these guys will come from other places. Like Cage Warriors is a pretty respectable banner, but it's a lot of guys are like, well, you haven't fought anybody, right? That's always the thing. If you're not in the UFC, you've never fought anybody. You've not fought anybody like the UFC guys, blah blah. So he comes over here. He puts on, and in a couple of these wins, people have thought he's lost. Don't get me wrong, there's been fights where he maybe didn't look great, just edged out a win, could have gone either way type decisions. But he's also had a lot of finishes too. And in the last two fights, he has looked so goddamn improved. He's taking it seriously. Like Paddy Pimblett, if you guys follow UFC or MMA at all, he used to, he comes into fights looking like an absolute machine, but then he balloons up afterwards. Paddy Pimblett, his body transformation between fights is one of the most insane things, because he is a huge fat kid. He gets out of fight camp and just starts eating like he put on 50 pounds in 11 days after a fight one time.
Oh boy. What weight does he fight at, Nick?
He fights at 155.
Holy fuck. That's a rough cut.
God damn it. Hold on.
Holy crap.
And he doesn't do this anymore because that's a part of his thing. He's like, yeah, I take it more seriously. But look at him, dude. He just balloons up. He'll go to a restaurant and order one of everything and just eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. It's fucking wild. And then but he's got a nutritionist. He's never ever missed weight ever. He just had it down to a science where, I can start weight cutting at this point and I can get all this weight off. But, obviously as you get older, that's going to get harder to do. And, he's taking it more seriously now. He's in the UFC. And I think this is going to be a spectacular performance. I really do. I think Michael Chandler's going to try to go in there. I don't think he wants to wrestle Pimblett because Paddy has got a ground game like none other. He is going to roll him around and submit the shit out of him. But Paddy's got hands. starting to get, his hands are starting to get better. That's always kind of been the thing on Patty, is kind of maybe not a stand-up guy. Chandler knocks guys out, but I just think that I think Chandler's going to get wild. I think he can get picked apart, and I think he will get put on his ass. I really do. I think he'll get fucking judo throat or something. I don't know, but I think this is a good fight for Patty. I think that, what is he, minus 148? Chandler's plus 124. I mean, I would put money on Patty. I mean, I know 148 is not really a super appealing number, but I'm not putting any money on Chandler. I'll tell you that. I mean, Chandler could win this fight, and he's kind of a hometown guy here in St. Louis. But
if you were to manipulate the line, I don't have them in front of me, but would you feel more comfortable Patty going the distance, or would you feel more comfortable Patty winning by submission? I asked the good questions tonight, it seems.
I think this might go the distance. I think it's 3 rounds. I believe it's going to be 3 rounds, co-main. Okay. If this was 5 rounds, I would put that on Patty. I think somebody would get finished. I think there's a chance that somebody gets, but 3 rounds, I don't know. I mean, that he definitely could finish Michael Chandler. I mean, and he could finish Patty. I mean, there's a chance anybody can get knocked out, right? But I think that 3 rounds, these guys, I think it's going to go all 3. I think I would bet Patty Pimblett by decision.
We're making a DraftKings lineup tomorrow for me, and sometimes those knockouts are good, but sometimes one of those fights that goes the distance where one guy dominates the other is just as good.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Nowadays, the way the UFC is nowadays, I assume people are going to decisions more than not nowadays. Like I really do. I just think a lot of fights.
That?
I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I think we're in not a lull time of the UFC, but I just think that I think there's more guys than ever that will come in and fight a smart fight. I think they'll come in and and they're not going to throw caution to the wind. They're going to fight their fight, which is a smart thing to do. But there are guys that are going to point fight their way through things and not go for and try to maybe avoid as much damage as possible, because obviously that's the new thing, right? Not new, but the whole point of fighting is punch and not get punched. But nowadays, as the head injuries and all the health and stuff coming in, like, the don't get punched is really important, right? So they really work on not getting hit and hitting, which is the point, but they're not really getting into firefights. Like, it's a lot of them are, they're picking guys apart. There's maybe they're okay with going 3 rounds and winning by points type of thing. Right. Where I think back in the day, this was just a fucking savage sport, which still is, but I think those guys were just out there trying to kill each other. It was less about the sport. It was more about just going out there and being brutal, like these guys are just nut bags going out there and fighting. But, now it's more, I don't know. I really don't know, but I feel like, and maybe it's just these big cards. I think maybe that's the way to put it. Cause I do think that you go watch one of those free cards that, like, there's a fight card you look at and you're like, I don't know anybody on this card. This fight card's going to suck. You sit down and watch it. There's like 10 knockouts on that card.
Because guys are going for it. Because
guys are going for it.
Because they have to get the knockout to get the bigger paycheck to get onto one of these cards.
Right. And I think these guys, they get up there, they're not willing to risk the position. They don't want to risk losing all of it. They're not right. They're okay with going into a fight and just getting out of the fight instead of putting it all on the line, which, some people say that's smart. So, but cool. I think Pimblett's going to go. I think this will go to decision. Now this one, the main event, this one right here, I don't know how this one's going to go, dude. I really don't. I like Diego Lopez. I think Diego Lopez has got a good career in front. I mean, 26-6. The guy's been around a minute. I mean, he's young, but he's not super young. But he's up and coming for the UFC. And I mean, I don't know. He's probably got to be the favorite, right? No, he's not the favorite. He is actually the dog, plus 102. That's surprising.
It's funny, I have a plus 130 on here and a minus 125 for the.
I'm not gonna lie. I want Volk to win this fight. I don't think Volk's washed. I think everybody thinks, he goes out there and loses to. I mean, he's lost more. He didn't lose forever, and then he's lost like 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years, and that's because he's fighting 2 to Islam, 1 to Ilia Topuria, 2 absolute of the best. So, and 2 of those were him going up in weight, 1 on short notice. So one of those he fought going up in weight on like 5 days short notice. Looked out of shape as shit. He goes out there. That was the one where he's talking about he got into his mental health and talking about when he's not fighting, he doesn't know what he's doing, and this and this. So it's one of those things where it's like he's one of those guys that when he's not fighting, I think he really struggles. And I think that, he's probably struggling. I think he took that fight on 5 days notice and got fucking destroyed. So it is what it is. I don't think he's washed. I think he's getting old, but I don't think you're quite there yet. I think he is still one of the best of the best. I think he can very well beat Diego Lopez. He's got the grappling. I mean, this is a former rugby player, right? This is a guy that used to weigh 200 some odd pounds. This is the kind of guy that, sure, obviously, the reach was a problem with Islam, and that's always going to be a reach for shorter guys. But if anybody can get in and use their strength still and land and get some takedowns, I think it's going to be Volkanovski. But if you can get Diego Lopez at plus 130, I think I would take that.
Okay. So
I'm not saying I'm 100% confident in that, but
there's enough value there.
There's enough value there.
Okay. Yep. But if you had a pew to your head, you would take Volkanovski.
I'm taking Volkanovski, and that might just be thinking with my heart, type thing. But love Volkanovski, and I really do think he's, when Volkanovski was the champ, he was the best in the world. And outside of John Jones, I think he was the best in the world. So I think that Volkanovski is still that guy. I don't think he's over the hill or anything. I think that just a guy that was on top of the world. He was beating everybody, and he started taking risk, right? What you want to see these guys do. They go up. He goes, fuck it, I've cleaned out 45. Let's go to 55. Didn't work out for him. Loses to Islam twice. The first one was a really good fight that I think people thought he could have won. The first one could have gone either way. The first one was a really good fight. Second one, again, took it on short notice. He didn't look good. Didn't look good physically. Nothing even felt right about that fight. Like, it just didn't feel good. So him losing that one sucked. And then Ilia Topuria is knocking out literally everybody. So, it sucks that he lost that fight, but he's not losing to scrubs. He's lost to 2 of the best in the world. And now I think he's back with a chance to regain the throne in his division. And I think that he is going to be motivated. I think he wants to show people he's not too old. And I think he's going to do that. So, but at plus 130, I think you got to throw some money on Diego, because Diego Lopez is a serial killer. I mean, he's a man.
So if you were to take a round prop, if I told, again, I don't have odds in front of me. They fight in round 5. Would you lame this fight going long?
I think if Volkanovski wins by decision. I think if Diego Lopez wins by finish.
Okay, so you're saying that your bet would who you believe to win correlates to how the fight will go. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Volkanovski's one of those guys. Again, Volkanovski's looking for the finish at all times and stuff, but he's one of those guys that will just brutalize you for 5 minutes. If he can't get the finish, he's going to just relentlessly fucking drain you and beat the shit out of you. And
so he's like one of those dog straightforward,
Yeah.
I might take a punch, but I'm going to take you down, and I'll take the little bit of damage to.
Yes. I mean, and he is just
damage.
But he is just a dog with his hands too. So he's a bad boy, but I think I don't know if he'll finish Diego Lopez. So yeah, I think that if Diego wins, we're going to get a finish. I think it will be mid rounds, rounds 3 and 4.
Okay. Yep.
But I think if Volkanovski wins, give me the decision on that one.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, because you and me can create something definitely. So, but just from you talking, that Silva fight, you have me sold for.
Dude, brother, I can't fucking wait for that fight. I am so stoked for these fights tomorrow. It's been a minute since we've had a good fight card all the way through. By the way, don't look now. But it's 4-1 Minnesota top 6. We got 5 runs out of nowhere.
I need to go look at a box score to hopefully see that our boy got through 5 innings.
Festa?
That would be, yes.
I'll tell you right now. Hold on.
Oh, if you tell me he has 5 innings, I would kiss you in the mouth right now.
Knicks and Cavs are 101 to 100 right now.
The Knicks haven't got the 1 seed locked up yet, have they? I can't watch the game because it's on. Oh, have I went on my Apple TV rant? Because I don't have Apple TV.
No, I don't have it either, and it's so stupid. If the baseball games are on Apple TV, the Guardians were on there yesterday, the day game.
God damn, I hate it.
So Festa,
Please tell I'm just
4.2.
You're not even going to get me through 5, fucker. You're not going to
3 hits, win. No earned runs, and 4 Ks. So why are we pulling him? No earned
really
runs,
needed
4Ks. They're up 4-1.
Again, it's positive. It will help the total grow, but the win is like 8 points that could desperate or 5 points that desperately could be needed at the end. But hey, it's not negative. It will help elevate everybody. This is good. But yeah, no, I'm super intrigued by this because Sportsnet has the early card, the whatever, what do they call the televised but not the pay per view?
The prelims.
Prelims, thank you. So they have that, and then I think I will be trying to find some great streaming service to watch this fight.
Yeah, well, I got one for you. We'll get you in there, dude. Maybe
my
we'll
people,
watch it
your
on
people.
Discord. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you know, we'll throw the kid on for the prelims, and then all right, you go play Fortnite, and Dad and Nick will watch the rest on the computer and do that. So.
Hell yeah! Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend, man. It's great. Got a big sports weekend ahead of us. We got a lot of baseball. We got obviously baseball, basketball throughout the weekend. We got UFC 314. No Formula One this week, I don't believe. I think we're off of Formula One this week. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive there's no Formula One, no darts this weekend. So mainly we're just rocking on baseball and basketball and MMA this weekend.
This UFC one's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
You have like again, I don't know. I don't want to. I'm a hair more than casual because like now there's names from the time knowing you and the other show that there's names that I recognize. Like I recognize Miller. Like I'm starting to go through. Like I remember Ige. Yeah, like Patty the Batty, I know. Like, you know, I'm starting to, some of these names are starting to ring bells, and I've seen these guys fight. So, like, yeah, and the racist God matchup sounds fucking great.
Dude, that's the people's main event right there, baby. Bryce Mitchell, Gene Silva, let's fight Lord Silva. I can't fucking wait for that. So it's gonna be a good weekend, boys. I mean, Monday we'll have a great episode. We'll come back on Monday 7 p.m. We'll be back here on Monday. We'll chat about it. We'll cover it all. We'll review everything that happens.
We're gonna be doing a guillotine pickup. We are.
Yeah, guillotine pickup on Monday, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it might happen this week. I don't know, depends on what the front office is up to. But we might do the draft lottery live on the show on Monday too for our Dynasty League. So, but yeah,
are you in the lottery? Sorry,
I'm not in the lottery. I'm one spot out of the lottery. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, right, yeah. So it's only the bottom 4, right?
Yeah.
Who are the bottom 4?
I'm not even sure. Big Perk.
There's a name a body I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, he needs to get back on. He needs to swing through, but he's got him and Erm. He's got 2 picks in the first 4, I think. So it's gonna be I think my buddy Jack is in there, and I can't remember who the other one is. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think Monday we'll probably do that. So we got a big weekend ahead of us. Monday we'll do that. We'll
celebrate our doctor of the show.
So I was just gonna say that's why I want to say before we get out of here, we want to give a huge shout out to our boy front office, man. I mean, that guy, PhD, gets his PhD, did his dissertation Thursday. I watched the whole thing on Zoom. Thing was fucking crazy. I mean, that was.
Did you learn anything?
No, I didn't learn anything.
God, it was so above my. It was like I'm like, oh, there's some cool graphs. Front office looks good in a suit.
I was texting his mom the entire time, and his mom's like, "What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." And his mom's a big wig, and she's a big medical lady too. She's retired, but super awesome lady. So, it was super cool. So super cool to watch him do that. I've been watching him work on this for years and years and years. I mean, that guy went out of high school thinking he was going to be an emergency room doctor, right? And that's what he wanted to do, and was full set on that. Yeah, I mean, there was a point where his mom was so upset because he decided he wasn't going to do that and was going to go do something. Like he was full send on being a emergency room doctor, and he realized that his mom's a bigwig at one of the major hospitals here. So it was a bit, but then he realized that, being an ER doc, there's so much the suicide rates out of this world, because of like the paperwork. It's just such a stressful job that he was like, I don't want to do this. So he switched, just out of nowhere, switched his majors, which fucking threw everybody for a loop. Right? His mom's like, oh my God, probably thought the world was crashing. Wasn't happy about it. But look at him now. My boy, years later, he finally gets it. Hard right turn into fucking astrophysiology or physicism, whatever the fuck it's called. Big words, space. And he did it. My guy did it. He went and got his fucking shooting rockets off in different parts of the world. Goes and does the thing and then gets up there and defends that shit. I mean, those guys in the crowd were asking him questions, pressing him.
Like I only got to see bits and pieces, but they weren't holding back on him. Like they were making sure, like if they didn't agree, that they were challenging him, and he was doing his best to defend it all. So
yeah, he's a great speaker, man. He knows what he's doing. So and then obviously it was cool, to see like they did an off. They sent the camera out, and then he had to sit there and do his other part off camera. And he texted us. Everything went great. Super stoked for him. So like I said, hopefully, he's probably not going to be on. I knew he wasn't going to be on it all this week, and I told him, dude, you need to relax all weekend. You haven't mentally relaxed in like 5 years, so you need to just sit back, relax, kick your feet up. You deserve this. We're all super happy for you, dude. I mean, that's super dope. I mean, outside of everything that we're doing here, it's cooler than anything we're doing here, right? I mean, that guy is doing real deal shit. So shout out to the front office, man. Super proud of him. We're all happy for him.
Can't wait to actually celebrate with him on here and tell him all these great things. And he will not blush at all, and he will just aw shucks it off. But he has to aw shucks it off because he doesn't have a choice.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this Friday night. We will be 3 streams next week. I promise you. I'm back on the bus. I just had a lot of shit going on this last 2 weeks. A lot of shit. So I've just had to just mentally take some breaks. So Monday we'll be back 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. here on X and YouTube. Make sure you guys follow us, Daily Derelict, or Daily Derelict, or Derelict Sports Daily, or Derelict Sports Live. It's all up on the QR code. If you scan that QR code up top, if you're on our X, it's all linked there. If you're on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share with a friend, leave a comment down below. It really helps the channel out. We really appreciate it. It really helps us get out into the algorithm. If you're on X, man, make sure you guys shoot us a follow, shoot us a message, hop in the comments, retweet, whatever you guys want to do. We're giving you guys 3 to 5 bets, 3 to 9 bets. Sometimes it doesn't, unlimited bets every day, free. Over on the Action Network, we've got 3 today. Look like a 3-0 day right now, hopefully. So everything's green.
But they're feel good.
100% free, boys. We give them to you every single day. We try to post them on our Instagram and Twitter every day. But even if we don't post them on our Instagram and Twitter, they're still free. You just have to follow us on Action Network. You get notified every time we lock one in. You guys can just go place the same bet or follow them right from there. So make sure you guys give us a follow over there. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this Friday night. Dale, my man, appreciate you hanging out. We will see you guys on Monday at 7 p.m. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy UFC 314. Dale, we'll figure some out for tomorrow night. The rest of you guys have a great night, all right? Peace.
Summer wreck, I'm a drunken intellect. Got change in my pocket, $1.50 a half.